In the peaceful town of Radiator Springs, something extraordinary was about to happen. Turbo,
Ever since Turbo was a tiny car, Turbo had dreamed of racing in the championship. Turbo would watch the races on an...
At Flo's Cafe, Turbo encountered the legendary Chrome, a 5-time champion who had retired from racing. Racing isn't just about speed, Turbo. Winning requires heart, strategy, and respect for other racers. True champions help others succeed, too. Turbo's next friend was Spark, an electric car obsessed with technology and data. Spark could calculate racing strategy.
Ruby, the town's medical expert and kindest car anyone knew, heard about Turbo's championship dreams.
Axel was the best mechanic in 5 miles, and Axel's garage was legendary. When Axel heard Turbo needed preparation for the championship, Axel immediately wanted to help.
Training started immediately. Chrome pushed Turbo harder than Turbo had ever been pushed before. Spark analyzed every... But training wasn't easy. Turbo kept making mistakes, spinning out on turns and braking too late. Chrome shared something Chrome had never told anyone. Turbo wants to know a secret? Chrome failed Chrome's first championship. The next morning, Chrome arrived to find Turbo already practicing. Turbo had been there for hours, trying that Diesel, the toughest muscle car in town, heard about Turbo's championship entry. Diesel challenged Turbo to a drag race right there on Main Street.
Training became Turbo's entire life. Every morning, Chrome coached Turbo on racing strategy. Spark analyzed Turbo's every...
But someone else was watching Turbo train. Blaze, a mysterious racer from the city. Now Turbo was about to race in the biggest competition of Turbo's life. Chrome found Turbo there and said simply, "Race day." The championship stadium was bigger than Turbo had ever imagined. Thousands of cars filled the stands. Cameras were everywhere. Turbo met racers from everywhere. Nitro from the coast, racers from the mountains, from the city. Most were friendly competitors who respected the sport. The opening ceremony was spectacular beyond imagination. Fireworks lit the sky, music filled the air. The championship had 3 stages: desert sprint, mountain endurance, and city finale. Points from each race. Stage 1, desert sprint. Turbo lined up on the starting grid, heart pounding. Blaze sat. The green flag dropped and chaos erupted. Cars battled everywhere. Turbo focused on Chrome's training. Stay calm, don't burn out early. The desert heat destroys cars who push too hard, too fast. Turbo listened to Spark's data and raced smart. Final laps. Turbo's strategy paid off. While others had burned out, Turbo still had energy. Turbo caught Blaze and pulled alongside. Photo finish! The crowd held their breath as officials reviewed the cameras. And then, Blaze wins by 1,000. Voiceover. Stage 1 results. Blaze first, Turbo second, Nitro third. Turbo earned valuable points, but Blaze cornered Turbo in the pit area, trying intimidation tactics. Blaze always wins. Turbo should just quit now. The team worked late into the night planning mountain stage strategy. Chrome warned about dangerous sections where many racers crash. Stage 2, mountain endurance. But storm clouds loomed threateningly over the peaks.
The race started in worsening conditions. Rain poured down, making the mountain road incredibly slippery. Cars were spinning out everywhere.
Then Turbo saw something that changed everything. Blaze had pushed too hard and lost control. Blaze was sliding toward a cliff edge. Turbo slammed brakes and rushed to help. Turbo connected a tow cable and pulled with all Turbo's strength. Turbo's engine screamed with effort. Blaze has been winning races, but losing what matters. Turbo showed Blaze what a true champion is. Blaze!
Something amazing happened. Turbo and Blaze started racing together. Blaze knew the mountain course and helped Turbo through dangerous sections.
Nitro won Stage 2 while Turbo and Blaze helped each other. Turbo lost crucial championship points. But when the crowd learned what... After 2 stages, Nitro led the championship. Turbo sat third. Spark calculated. Turbo needed to win the city finale, and the entire town of Radiator Springs came to support Turbo. Turbo realized he wasn't just racing for himself anymore. The odds were against Turbo, but Turbo had trained for this. Turbo had fought for this. The lights counted down. This was Turbo's moment. The start was absolute chaos. 20 cars fighting through tight city streets. But Turbo and Blaze's partnership was Turbo was on fire. Turbo passed into second place and set Turbo's sights on Nitro. The rain that had had the mountain race returned. Blaze saw Thunder trying to interfere with Turbo's championship chase. Blaze made the ultimate final lap. The championship came down to this. Turbo and Nitro were perfectly matched. Every corner, every breaking point, Turbo won! Turbo actually won the race! Turbo won the championship! I knew you could do this! I am so proud!
Suddenly, Turbo was famous. Reporters wanted to know everything about the small-town racer who won the championship.
Turbo's face was suddenly everywhere. Magazine covers, posters, advertisements. Turbo couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. Radiator Springs threw the biggest parade in town history. Everyone celebrated their hometown hero, Turbo. The mayor gave Turbo the key to Radiator Springs. Turbo's speech was simple but heartfelt.
The town museum created a permanent exhibit honoring Turbo's championship. Turbo watched young racers.
Corporate sponsors offered Turbo millions to represent their brands. The money was tempting, more than Turbo ever imagined. Turbo announced something special. Turbo's championship prize money would fund a racing program for young cars who couldn't afford training.
Turbo met Zoom, a young racer from an even smaller town than Radiator Springs. Zoom was tiny, poor, but...
Turbo began teaching Zoom everything Chrome taught Turbo. Turbo was patient when Zoom made mistakes. Zoom finished THIRD in Zoom's first official race. Zoom couldn't believe Zoom podiumed. But Turbo believed Zoom.
6 months after the championship, organizers announced a special exhibition race. All championship racers would reunite for a friendly charity event.
The reunion. Turbo hadn't seen these racers in months. Before the exhibition race, all racers volunteered at a youth center together. They painted walls, taught racing clinics, and...
The exhibition race felt completely different. No pressure, no tension, just friends having fun.
The racing was hilarious. Diesel and Turbo made funny faces at each other while racing. Nitro showed off with unnecessary... Zoom watched the exhibition with new understanding. Zoom had been so focused on winning that Zoom forgot why Zoom loved racing.
All the championship racers became coaches together. Their training program grew. Now hundreds of young racers The exhibition race changed racing forever. Organizers announced a new league that would reward sportsmanship, team... 1 year after winning the championship, Turbo's program had helped hundreds of young racers. Many were now competing. Turbo was more nervous coaching than Turbo ever was racing. Chrome laughed. Welcome to being a mentor, Turbo. Chrome's heart nearly stopped watching Turbo's races. Zoom W1N! Turbo's student won Zoom's first major championship. Turner when Turbo won. The program was expanding nationwide. Blaze would run the city facility, from antagonist to program director. Nitro offered coastal property, Diesel the mountains.
We want to show the world your journey, Turbo. Turbo's story inspires racers. Zoom needs to hear it. A documentary team wanted to tell Turbo's story to the world.
Everything started right here. Turbo never wants to forget these roots.
Turbo became more than champion. Turbo became mentor. Chrome's proudest achievement isn't Chrome's 5 championships, it's Turbo.
The documentary premiered in Radiator Springs. Turbo walked the red carpet feeling surreal. Was Turbo really the subject of a movie? The documentary went worldwide. Turbo started receiving letters from racers on every continent. Young cars who thought they'd never...
The International Racing Federation in Turbo is keynote speaker at their global summit.
Preparing the speech was hard. Turbo kept trying to memorize fancy words and sounding fake.
Turbo!
The whole town came to see Turbo off. Zoom gave Turbo a lucky charm saying, "This got Zoom through Zoom's first race. Now Turbo needs it for Turbo's big speech."
Turbo doesn't belong here with legends. Turbo earned Turbo's place here. Turbo is a legend now. Turbo's heroes approached Turbo. Legendary champions who won 10 times more races than Turbo. They called Turbo's training program revolutionary.
5 minutes before the speech, Turbo was terrified. Turbo couldn't breathe.
Combo, 5 minutes!
Just be honest. That's enough.
Turbo rolled onto that stage and nearly fainted. Thousands of cars staring, cameras everywhere. But then Turbo started telling Turbo's story. About the small town, the tiny garage, the impossible dream. The audience was...
The ovation lasted 10 minutes. Racing legends were crying and cheering.
After the speech, everything exploded. Racing organizations from 50 countries wanted to partner.
6 months later, Turbo's program operated on 6 continents. Thousands of young racers who couldn't afford training were now learning.
The Racing Hall of Fame inducted Turbo, the youngest racer ever honored. Not for racing alone, but for fundamental...
Turbo returned to where everything started, the old practice track. Alone with Turbo's thoughts,
Just when Turbo thought the journey was complete, a new challenge emerged. The Olympics wanted racing Turbo's way.
Turbo brought together racers from countries that were traditional rivals. Turbo taught them Chrome's lesson. Racing brings...
The Olympic race changed everything. Turbo's team didn't race against each other, they raced...
And in this moment, the world truly became one. The barriers between nations dissolved on the...
Years later, Turbo met a new young racer with the same dreams Turbo once had. Turbo gave that youngster the same... Turbo looked at the family Turbo had built. Not just Turbo's team, but hundreds of mentors and thousands of students. Chrome was right all along.